Hello everyone, welcome back to a Revolution Next devlog. Today I'm going to go over climbing, some locomotion, and some stabbing physics. Climbing, completely redone most of the script there. Now introduced a drag. So, as you can see here, when I'm barely moving my controller, I mean it's hard to tell because you can't see the controller, but it's not one-to-one movement there. There's a lot of input missed by the game. However, when I move really fast up and down like this, it's almost one-to-one to the controller. I found it to be a lot smoother this way and a lot nicer to actually climb around with. Another thing you might notice is in the last time I went over climbing, there was this kind of snap effect when you had two hands like this. Basically, from it calculating force with the two hands on to it calculating force with the one hand on. I've gone ahead and smoothed that out a ton. It used to be motion sick and inducing, and now it's completely fine. This is an exaggeration of the effect right here because I'm forcing it to happen. However, when you're just normally climbing like this, say, you barely even notice anything at all. Another thing I've gone ahead and added is tossing. I've changed that up a bunch. It's much better now. You can go ahead and just toss yourself up. Now that's a bit of an exaggerated toss, but yeah. I still have to tweak some values, make sure it's 100% perfect, because this is a little over exaggerated for the purposes of this video. However, tossing is much nicer. Another thing as well, the main thing that I've updated is actually getting up on a ledge. So now this is one of the biggest problems with VR climbing today is getting over the ledge, such as this. So Boneworks accomplishes this in a kind of jank way. It makes sense for the game. However, when you're trying to do fast motions and stuff, it doesn't turn out to be the greatest mechanic. So you have to kind of use the controller input to lower your body, and then you have to make sure your entire torso is all the way up over this ledge, and that just ends up introducing a lot of jank. Half-Life Alyx also accomplishes this in a different way. They just use the teleportation method. So, for example, if I were to let go here, I would just teleport up there. I'm not doing either of those ways. It's more similar to the Boneworks way. However, it's much easier for the player. All I'm doing is when you get over to a ledge and you stop climbing, you simply stand up. So while you're climbing, your player is essentially doing a mega squat. So my kind of torso is effectively like all the way up here already. So whenever I'm over a ledge like this and I just want to get up, it just stands up automatically. This is, I found, the easiest, most fluid way to get up in climbing in VR, and it's one of my favorite mechanics. You can just be fast climbing and just, even with the tossing mechanic as well you just saw there, I just tossed myself up over the ledge and it worked perfectly fine. You can see another example of it over here on this ledge where I just quickly come up and boom, I'm up. No hassle, no teleporting, it's all physics still. It just does some of the inputs for you. One thing I found also is it's a lot nicer to have this little rung here rather than going like this, because if you go like this, you have to kind of exaggerate your motion a bit and kind of force yourself to be up fully. However, when that extra little rung is there, you can just easily stand up like so. It's really smooth and really nice to play around with. I find that climbing is finally in its kind of perfected form. And I don't see much else that I'd do to improve this other than change up some of the tossing mechanics. Other than that, climbing is essentially finished, and I'm happy to say that it's one of the best climbing experiences I've had in VR. Now, there's of course bias with that statement, but definitely happy with it. Another thing I've changed up is stabbing mechanics. So sword, I've gone ahead and actually changed it to a high friction material as well. I found that when you're whacking objects and trying to kind of feel the impact of things, it's a lot better to have a high friction on it rather than it be sloppy, versus like you see when I when I whack my hand on this, just kind of skates across, versus the sword gets kind of stuck on that. I found it has a much higher impact, and feels like you're actually slashing the object rather than just kind of waving a little wand around, right? Stabbing, gone ahead and got rid of the stabbers on either side, completely reworked the script that accomplishes stabbing. It's only one thing on the end of the sword that actually calculates whether it's going to be a stabber or not. Here's the stabbing. That wasn't the best example of it. It's still a little buggy. I still need to work on it a bunch. But there it is. You stick it in. Just makes a configurable joint, as with most physics-based things. And then it's in there. When you want to pull it out, you just simply pull it out and it slides out.